What's up? Shit. I forgot to check it. Does the audio work? It's a little soon. That's better. Okay. Cool. Glad we have that flexibility. I need this first. Remember, that's what the comments used to be. First. Every video. Okay. Wow, things are just working. That's amazing. How did that happen? How did things just start working? I'm confused. We usually have 100 little problems. All right, we're gonna change some blades. We are tinting this f150, 15 on the front doors, 15 over the factory, and then we're gonna do 35 on the windshield. It's gonna look nice. I'm excited. We got one more button to push. Oh, it never works when it wants to do that. Let's try again. Pa! Should be good. All right, slip solutions all set to go. I want to start out with taping some seals. And I just got to get a handle on where everything is. We just had a class. I tinted a car over there. It usually means I got to track down some tools, but we'll see. It might not be that bad today. Any tips on the easiest way to remove tint? Definitely watch some videos, because there's a few different ways. Heat and moisture are always your friends when removing tint. Steamers generally help the most. Just moisture. Slip solution is very simple. Soapy water. I use a soap called Tint Slip. I have a spray keg. That's right there. And I put 3 ounces of Tint Slip in there and just shake it up. All right, so we got some tape on the seal. We're gonna roll this up. Just wipe it off before we roll it up all the way. So we got dirt along this top edge. Might as well catch that. So first thing that I typically do is roll down the windows, and you can either tape or clean the side seals. There's just trash that's gonna build up in there. And nobody thinks about cleaning their side seals. So that can always introduce speckles and dirt. Contamination. So this is my way of basically creating a brand new seal temporarily. Oh, they got the window lock on. All right, we'll take care of that when we come back to it. Let's go to the other side, tape that up. Malaysia. I'm from Michigan. Do you ever torch windshields? Ooh, no, because there's not a good, I mean, you could get to some of it. The lower areas would be really difficult. I would use gel to help out as much as possible. Either adding some of that into my slip solution, adding more soap, or just spraying a combination of the two. But I know when it's incredibly hot outside, things tack up pretty fast. There is a scrubbing compound. Invisible Glass has one. But it's got grit to it. They all have some type of grit to them. Window lock off. Like all the effective scrubs. But that's why we like torches instead. They're just fast, they don't introduce any grit. And it's easy to do. We got stickers. Usually don't see stickers very often. Remember the days of the serious stickers. Hang on, let's see here. Chrome? Oh, that's this window. Why isn't this working now? Weird. Well, I guess if something's gonna break, it might as well be that one. My chat was working fine on this tablet. I'd like to have something right there. It'd be handy. Do you need to shrink more when two-staging? I wouldn't really look at it that way. Probably. But you should always, like, if you're shrinking a door window, you should always just shrink enough. So if I was bottom loading, I wouldn't shrink any differently. I would still shrink a window. But you can get away with being able to push out the fingers a little bit more smoothly, evenly, and out of your way. You don't have a seal. So like the bottom seal here, it stays wet, and then water can feed back into the film, which is why fingers keep popping up at the bottom when there are some. You have to dry that out. If you remove the seal, you can touch bottom edge up much quicker. I think some people that bottom load, they don't shrink the window, but then they end up touching up fingers on the inside anyways. Just take the door panel off, take the engine out, take the tires off, leave the rims on. Yeah, why? Later, I don't wanna, no. Oh my God. Why? You better not start doing an update on me. We'll figure that out. In a little bit. All right. This is a really obnoxious sticker to have. Oh yeah, our child lock is on. Or off now, so we can roll this window back up. Okay, 15% apex going on this one. I have it this time. Oops. This is the new game. Car Tinter Simulator, yep. I mean, they got pressure washer and everything else. PC builder, might as well have window tint simulator 2026. Fresh roll. So this, see that little, and this. So when I get a new roll, this is usually what happens. I'm usually on the front door. I mean, I wouldn't want to put that on the back door either. Less noticeable. But you might have a little indent from a sticker. So that's why I'll typically just trim that off. Ooh, it's heavy. Apex is a dual ceramic. It's got more ceramic, another layer. It's heavier. And it's just as squirrely as a carbon roll. I was the one who asked about that, yeah. Stickers. It might turn out fine. If I'm gonna put it right here on, like, you know, front and center, I don't want that sticker potentially right in the middle, like a little indent from it. I've heard Apex falls off, like, oh my God. Well, it's heavy. I install Apex all the time. There can be an issue with the windshields. I wouldn't immediately tin a windshield and pull it outside. You want to make sure all the side edges are not going to curl backwards. It's been a thing with Apex ever since Apex was a film. And it's not a long-term thing. It's not going to randomly, like, oh, you know, it was settled, and then a month later, it's fine. I have it on my vehicles. I've driven with it for more than a year. It's not something I'm worried about long-term, but it is something to pay attention to initially. Yeah, let's just do this side. We're here. So we're going to cut that edge. I'm going to shift it forward because it was just like that side was there. So I'm going to shift this forward. I'm going to shift this forward normally than I would, or farther than I usually would on most vehicles, because it's an F-150. I've got so much space on the inside. This is Apex, so it's going to be thicker to cut through. It's cutting through 4 mil because I got 2 of them together. Right here. Just a little guy. Doot. 3M. 3M or X-Bell if you want actual good adhesive, not cheap film like Apex. And keep drinking that Kool-Aid. But I'd say it's a weird thing to leave on a customer's car. It's a weird thing to leave on a customer's car that's paying real money in an actual shop. If it was like actually a real problem. A lot of people end up using a ton of soap, and it's just on the windshield. After install, keep an eye on it for a little bit. Nothing happens, nothing's gonna happen.
I'll be back.
Okie dokie. But I'd say it'd be a really weird thing to do live if it was actual, like, real problem that was gonna give customer headache too. We're gonna round that. So the guy running Apex and calling premium film Kool-Aid. You do. For the performance, you're paying so much more money for the same type of performance. I'd say that's a brand Kool-Aid. It's cool if you like it. But there's a certain point in window films where you're genuinely not getting any additional performance. You're paying for the brand. Yes, we were doing double cuts. How often do you change blades? Typically once per car. And I snap them regularly. So if I'm making, I have a bunch of cuts that I can make with this blade because I can just take a blade and snap it. How long do you think it should take to tint a full car? It shouldn't take more than 2 hours to do all the sides and the rear. If you're doing a windshield with it, I'd plan for like 3 hours max. Don't feel bad if it does take longer. I would just say like a reasonable, good speed is up to 2 hours without a windshield, up to 3 hours with a windshield. Buddy, if you want to hang out and watch the full windshield, you're welcome to. So we're gonna curl just the ends here. You think there's a massive difference in heat rejection between 70% and 20% ceramic? There can be. It depends on the ceramic. Like GeoShield C2 ceramic in 75, it's not worth installing. I don't think it's that great. But Pro Nano, for basically the same price as their top ceramic, it beats Apex in most of it, because it's like a super ceramic. You think it's funny to do all this work on a vehicle that won't last 120,000 miles? I'll be honest. The last few vehicles that I've turned back in haven't been over 20,000 miles. I don't know. Some people just have more money to spend and don't drive their vehicles forever, and they'll just trade them out. Ooh, these are greasy. These are greasy. We're gonna set this over here. Chat seems feisty today. Well, if they've had panel dressing, nothing's gonna stick to it. So some of them do, but I like to cover my customers' door panels and not take them apart if I can help it. What's the point of using the heat gun? So the glass is curved and the film is flat. Oh, I touched there. I love Pro Nano. I also work with XPEL, but Pro Nano is the best. Yeah, Pro Nano is like really, really good. Are you recording? I have a Action 6 on me right now. Okay, one of those things that I need is razor blades. I'm gonna take some of these and put them over on the other side. Do you always use a heat gun when tinting windows? Yes. Glass is curved. Film is flat. So I like to shrink the film to fit that same curve, so then I don't fight fingers on the inside. Who wants to fight fingers on the inside? What's the easiest car to tint? Oh my God, we got one here too? These were the days. This is probably what? Objects in the mirror may be closer than they appear. You know, I never took the time to really pay attention to it. That makes sense, though. What's the easiest car in your opinion? There's a few. Taurus or a Malibu. I mean, F-150 is definitely on the list of easiest, but like a car, sedan, I don't know why I always go to something like that. But F-150s are very straightforward. We got a lot of room on the sides, so there's a lot of space in these seals. They don't pinch up. I don't like this though. So this is beading. What that means is the slip solution doesn't spread out on the window. So in this case, just to be safe, I'm gonna grab one of these. We're just gonna go over the main part. I don't think we're, there we go. I don't think we're burning a coating off. I think we're literally heat treating the window. There we go. It's all clean, ready to go. We're gonna gel the edges, coat the rest of it, and it's ready to install. So when you spray your soap on the window, you want to see it evenly sheet and spread out, not turn into little raindrops and fall off the window. Not all glass is the same. So some surfaces are just more hydrophobic. If you just torch the end of it, or hit the glass with the end of the torch there, it fixes your water. Ooh, that's pretty. Dang, I went really far into that seal too. It's nice. Would it be easier to take the window out completely? No. There are people that do that though. I forget what country. But I'll tell you, part of the headache would be trying to reinstall the window without damaging the film, because you definitely wouldn't want to damage that. And I have definitely retinted windows for glass installers because they tried to install a window with tint on it. They pulled it off of one vehicle and put it on another. How do you get it to tuck? Ooh. I'll try and talk about it on the next one, because it's tucked. Do you take cancellations? How often do you get side contaminants? Oh, it can always happen. But a few things. One, cleaning. 2, taking doing the right steps, being smooth about your install. Ooh, that's really fine, the seal there. And 3, gel. Gel and tape can definitely help on the edges. So we just took a few extra steps to just try and make the edges turn out cleaner, and now we're gonna find out if those worked. I feel like they did. What's one vehicle that you dread tinting? Thinking. Anything that makes me uncertain. Like older cars. I got a small finger right here. That's gonna take a little bit of heat, but we can see the rest of it. I don't see a schmeckle of nothing on the edges. All right, might as well start on this one because we're here. We'll plotter cut the back window. And then we'll have a windshield after. What do you do around areas that have black dots? You just go straight over them. There's nothing that you can do about them. Nothing practical. Gel can help. Oh my God. Don't do that. Don't do that. I'm just a little too short for this. And the roll's a little bit too heavy. How many times do you clean the sides until the cloth is completely clean? I I tape them so I don't wipe the seals at all, but yeah, if you're wiping seals, you're gonna wanna make sure that all the dirt has been wiped off. But the other reason I like tape is because I don't care what kind of seal it is. You can't wipe off a felt seal. I probably should just unroll it lower and then just lift it. So we're gonna move this one over. Shoop. Right, like that. Now, I've gone over truck rear windows in the past few live streams. So I'm not gonna go too detailed on this one because we've had a few F150, 250, 350s. This is gonna be my side edge right here. We're gonna tear this off and we're gonna shift it over. When I roll this window down, this part of the window is gonna drop out of the seal. So we have to treat this portion as one continuous edge. My car is off. Do you tape rubber seals too? Yeah, and taping a brand new rubber seal, it's not gonna matter that much. Taping something that's a little older, yes, absolutely, even if it's rubber. But with gel and everything now, I used to not tape anything. And then just kind of like the gel revelation. It's like, I used to not tape any door windows because I didn't have a good tape. Eventually I found a good tape. And I was just really impressed. Like, you get used to seeing, like somebody in chat, like never accept, like there's no such thing as perfect with tint. And I agree with that with some extent. But you can get damn fucking close. And those few speckles that you would typically see here and there are just like non-existent. Like they don't show anymore. So like it's not gonna make a job really, like, I think on average pass or fail. If you're a skilled tinter, you can do really good work without tape and gel, but they just help add a little bit more consistency, and I feel like they'll impress you. It's just like, oh shit, that's like super clean. Are you live with the metas? I am live. I'm wearing them, but that's not my camera. Metas don't stream. Be nice if they do. I got them to stream, but it was through like another app, and it just didn't look as good. It was a good idea, though. It was a feature that they rolled out and then like quietly deleted. But man, I was so confused when I got them. The tape I'm using right now is called Seal Guard. you can find it there. Okay, so this edge here, here. We could cut around right about to here. And then this part starts dropping into the seal, or into the door. So I use this as my side edge. I cut what I can see, and then I just blend in the rest of it. Most of that you're never gonna see. So you wanna get it as close as possible, because you can. But when we line this back up on the window, you see here? See how this lines up nicely, and then all this drops down into the door, into the unknown. You're never gonna see that. So this is the most important bit, making sure all that lines up. And then you just don't wanna extend your edge too far over, because it's pointless. You can't stream to Facebook/IG. No, not with them. I think on the Meta 1s, first gens, you might still be able to do it, but not the second gens. Which is a feature that they took away. It's kind of sad. So for the longest time, I was streaming on an iPhone, and I just put that on a neck mount. And now I have a Action 6 on that same type of neck mount. I would have done this earlier, but boy. And I'm so surprised it's now working completely fine, stable, no issues with it. But I basically had this camera, and it would stream. So you tell it to stream, but I have an encoder box up here. See that? See that little white box right there, the Febon? I have two of those, two little encoder boxes. It would go from there down to a capture card, and then back up to a Mac Mini that's up there. But now, Action 6 goes straight to the computer, which wasn't something that would work before, because that's the first thing I tried, but now it works. Oh, we forgot. We forgot to wipe that panel. I wrap cars. Nice. How's that going? I did a couple smaller graphics jobs, because we would have people at one of the shops that I worked for years back. I was the tinter, and if you tint, that just means that you can do everything with film, right? That just means you can also do paint protection film. You can also do vinyl wraps. It's a given. It's not true, you can't. But you can learn. And so we would just have these people come in and ask from time to time. And I had this guy with Corvette, and he got an OEM graphics package from them. It was a stripe kit. And I'm like, probably not. And we weren't super busy. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'll try it, because management was insisting. It's like, oh, it won't be that bad. The guy's gonna leave it here for a while. He'll be great. All right, I'll try it. Did the best I could. Customer flipped a shit and was one of the most annoying people that you've ever dealt with. Okay, so we need a bottle of gel. Got it. We need a razor blade. Got it. We need, some people are gonna say no, we actually need to shrink that window. In comments. No, you don't. You don't need to. I know, but I'm gonna do it anyways. So, I have a piece of film. I sprayed the window. I'm going to squeegee some of that water out. I'm gonna kick on the heat gun. And we're going to shrink the end. Come on, little heat gun, you can do it. There we go. But why? Glass has a curve to it. Film is flat. I would always rather take the 20 seconds that took to try and prevent a bigger finger that's going to take minutes for me to shrink out. I'm seeing the slip solution do the same thing on this. Door panels, glass. This is one I'd say is like somebody took like an interior dressing and just got it on everything. That's what this one seems like to me. Everything seems a little bit. This looks time consuming. Fortnite clip 10, that sounds, I mean, when you're getting paid $650 to do it. I'd say it's probably worth it. I would melt the car. Just make sure you film it. You might get some ad revenue from it. Those were the days too. You could, like, there was a point in time where you could drive your car through a garage door and then you'd be famous. Now people won't blink an eye. They'll be like, oh, whatever. Yeah, this one all the way around with the windshield is $650. All right, we're gonna slide this into the seal. We're gonna go up over here, pull this back, and then go back into this seal. Line up that corner nice and close. It's the main thing. Line up your corners and your top edge as close as possible without going over. Ooh, that's pretty. Do you ever scrub pad or only a blade? I have a really nice scrub pad. It even says Detroit, like this special edition Scrub It Mini. I usually just use a razor blade. To me, a razor blade almost completely does the job of a scrub pad, but better in most cases. So something like this, like what I'm more concerned with is something small and hard to feel that's stuck to the window. If I take a scrub pad and just, a lot of times I don't feel that, but a razor blade scraping over the surface of the glass will take care of it. And then that's how you remove stickers and adhesive anyways. With Windshield, with Super Ceramic, your Facebook group would flip. They'd say 1K minimum. That's so true. I don't think anybody is charging 1K for window film around here. I'm told often enough that I'm one of the most expensive around here. I don't think I'm the most expensive, but I don't think anybody's for like your average vehicle, I don't think anybody's quite charging $1,000. Most people that we shopped around at were lower than us. But I don't know, we're in summer and my schedule is booked out for 2 weeks, so. I should have trimmed that shorter there, but we can get it. God, what do they make the pegs out of now? Hey, don't make fun of my butter knife. I used to make fun of it. I remember seeing this possible tool introduced at an event, and I was like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Now it's one of my favorite things. But it's a palette knife. We call it the shank. I didn't name it. Somebody else named it. But it's a palette knife. And there was this shape, and there were 5 total, with like little different shapes and stuff like that. And I didn't realize at the time that they literally had bought a palette knife set. Probably saw it walking through a Walmart. Funny. Are you hiring? I'm thinking about it. With the right person, it would be good. I'm thinking about hiring a capable installer. It's hard to find one, though. I want to know why this. Hang on. Tools. No, doc. Custom browser docs. Hang on. Let me try recopying this back in here. Put it in my notes. It's the same. It's the same. But we're going to try. Yeah. Copy link. Chrome was the only one. Chrome was the only one that worked before. Same link. Weird that it wasn't working now. And kind of disappointing. Because why would this work yesterday and then not work today? Hard to find somebody to do it like you do it. Yeah. But when your schedule fills out, it's definitely like, we have people, they'd like to get scheduled sooner than that. And it'd be nice to just like, there's always the appeal of keeping this place busier, but then I know the business. It's not gonna be all sunshine and rainbows all the time. What do you think about a pre-cut tint machine? Oh, they're great. They definitely save a lot of time. They're not perfect. They have their moments, but they're definitely worth having, for sure. You'll see. I'll use it on the back window. Are you using gel more often now with your installs? I've been using it on the doors, which with Insta-Gel, I was typically just using it on the windshield. But I really wanted to, like, OptiGlide was brand new. We're gonna put a charger on this thing. Battery's a little bit low. It's turning off way too quickly. Easy access battery. Has anybody seen those tinting Olympic clips? Yeah, for sure. Tinter battles, they're awesome. I love that they're doing that. Good for them. Oh yeah, I gotta turn this back on. Let me turn this off, and I'll go get my torch. Yeah, it don't make sense to me. Let's try and copy and put it in Safari, but it didn't work in Safari. Weird. Yeah, Tinter Battles is hilarious. Okay, so when I see water droplets do this, they're rain. Little rain droplets. So I'll do this side. And then I'm going to spray it again and just show. Get close. So this is evenly sheeted on the window. This is still raindroppy. So essentially, the glass is like repelling. It's hydrophobic. It's repelling your slip solution. So you want your slip solution to stick to the window, so your slip solution can do what it's supposed to do. If it just runs off the window really quick, it's not there anymore and your film's gonna stick really fast. Did we remove that sticker? Yes, we did. Okay. All right, we got rid of the sticker and everything. It was considered a slow day. No cars and nothing else to do. But I like when I have no cars, because then I get to work on the other stuff that I work on. This stream didn't put itself together. At this point, it's pretty maintenance free though, which is good. It usually works, or it's supposed to, when I click go live. Everything should work. But we're a film and tool distributor. So I like to mess around with new product ideas. And there's usually a bunch of other random stuff. Like we're making handles there right now. That was fun. So I just have a lot of other interests around everything with window tinting. What was that? Most of the tools I bought have been from you. Fastest shipping and delivery, I swear. Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. So here, if you place an order, Jack's over there. Those are all the tools. And then order gets printed out right away. Tools get packed. And you get a shipping label very quickly. Good. Looks good. So we're gonna rinse off the bottom edge now. How many can I do, or how many do I want to do? Any distributors for the gel in Australia? Instagel, probably. I don't know what the distributor would be, but we used Instagel for a long time. OptiGlide, no. I know Mike's worked to get Instagel in a bunch of distributors around the world. I just saw he posted a list the other day. The technology will go down in history for its timeless innovation. It's a fine job, that is. I'd say it turned out pretty freaking nice. Super clean. That's good. We gotta shrink this door too, because I shrunk the front doors, shrunk the passenger side. I did not shrink that one over there. Oh my God, I got it. I found the Captcha. The Stream Ender 3000. Unable to fuck you, dude. I think that... Oh, okay, okay. What kind of shitty Captcha is that? We're in Miami. Can I get that? You can order it from here. Oh, this part. You guys need to see this part too. You can save 5% off tools with the code 313Tint. Did you hand cut those? I did. Oh, I see detailing products. We might have a spray somewhere. A spray that is keeping my tape from sticking to a panel. This one's better. So far, anyways. Is the one on your website just for one or a 3-pack? It's just the one. There's a lot of other painter's tape drop plastics that you can find. You can find them in big bundles. My issue is always the tape. So you can put another piece of more aggressive tape and then use the other drop roll to stick to it. But these are longer. These are 30-inch drop, so they're going to cover your trucks completely. And it just has a more aggressive tape. The original version that I had, we had to make the tape just more aggressive. I just didn't, like, it worked fairly well, but the tape still, like, it was a good tape too. It's just there's nothing. Nothing wants to stick to door panels. And I'm assuming that's really because they just want to make them easy to clean. So the more stuff that sticks to it is not going to come off the door panel. So having door panels repel crap is a good thing. So we've had to make the adhesive really, really grabby for like your average situation. So they work really well. I like them. There we go. Oh, let's go over a little bit more. There's a difference between the Pro and the starter door kit. More stuff. So starter door kit is basically everything that you need to simply tint a door window, minus the heat gun and the spray bottle. But you only get like 5 stainless blades, 1 card, a couple of razor blades. In the Pro door pack, there's just like more cards and stuff. It's more like, hey, I tint windows, or I'm looking to start full time. You're gonna have to buy all that stuff. So we just put it in a Pro kit and put a discount on it. The tools aren't cheaper. I extremely dislike a lot of generic stuff. So there's like, you'll find lots of window tint kits on Amazon. And the problem is there are a lot of mimic tools. So they take a tool from a good company and they make it in a shitty material and they load it with just a bunch of random shapes and crap. And so the kit in a picture looks busy and you don't know what you need. So in a lot of those kits, like I have a video, I bought 7 Amazon kits and just went through them all. So many of the same looking tools were made out of different materials. Some were glossy, some were matte, some were rubbery, some were more slick. You just didn't know what you were gonna get until you actually got it. I feel like UV-Ron sells tools fairly cheap and they work well. A lot of the tools that they sell are Fusion and Tri-Edge, which are good tool makers. They're actually like, they have a few other odds and ends. But yeah, they don't just take the generic Chinese tool catalog and slap it on their website. Fusion and Tri-Edge are the main American tint tool companies at this point. You have a little bit from Pro Tools. and then maybe a few odds and ends here. But what I see a lot of people do is they will literally just take the entire, like you go to a Chinese tool supplier and you ask for a catalog, and it's not hard to do. I know you guys can do it. And you'll start to see like, oh, this is from there, this is from there, this is from there. So a lot of them are just, subpar quality stuff. They slap their logos on them and call it a day. Best budget plotter. I'm awful at hand cutting. You're gonna have to work on that no matter what. This is a Graphtec. This is gonna be overkill. I need a 24. I don't think it's gonna matter. But I'll double check. What did it book as? Da, 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 2023. Okay. Yep. So this one. Super Crew, Super Cab. I hate that Ford calls it that. That was so confusing for the longest time. Super Cab. That's the crew cab. Super Cruise. Crew cab. What's a crew cab? I don't fucking know. I know now. And then with the slider, we get that 3-piece slider here. We're gonna go to our cut board. We're gonna delete whatever happened yesterday. Scooch this over. Break this up. I gotta see what roll I wanna cut with first. So I have a 24-inch 15% that we've done on the rest of the car. I have a 36. Yeah, 36-inch roll. I'm not gonna get a full back window out of that. Should probably though. Because we're probably gonna use the short roll a lot more than we're gonna use the long roll on this 15. So let's keep that around a little bit longer. Oh, but as far as budget plotters go, tint my car. I'll let Jack will get that one. It never fails. Somebody goes to the bathroom and then the phone rings. Is the Workhorse 3 back in stock yet? You either find, so for plotters, you either, like to save some money on it, you either find like a good machine on Marketplace, which is a great place to find plotters. You can find some killer deals on machines because somebody overplans for a business, gets one, decides that they don't want to use it, then they gotta offload the equipment because it's just gonna sit. The Workhorse 1, I think is good. I don't feel like it's better than the Workhorse, or I don't feel like the Workhorse 2 is significantly better. You have very similar roller positions. Like everything is basically the same except just like the look and feel of the machine. Oh, there was a 40. So this has to come here. Looks good. A little bit more this way. And we're gonna lock this in place. Oh wait, no. Swap this first. bought a heat gun, but do I also need a torch? No, not for shrinking. Condition 2. And we're gonna lock this down. Set it up. Okay, so we're cutting on a 36-inch roll. This is the back window. That's why a 40's nice for plotters, and this one especially. But I can probably flip this. You don't hand cut anymore. Nope. Nope, we don't hand cut anymore. We didn't just do that on the start of the truck or anything. Click cut, and we're good to go. I knew it. I fucking knew that was marked. Let me close and let me reopen. All right, so that's all cut out. We're gonna weed this one now. I also flip my patterns. If we want to shrink them, controversial, I know, we're gonna have to shrink them out this edge, because that's the top and bottom, that's the factory edges of the film roll. These are the sides. So the longer sides are not shrinkable, because we rotated our patterns when we cut them. The torch is mainly used for heat shrinking, but we used it today for our slip solution, and I can give a really nice illustration of that. Let me fill up a spray bottle with just water. This is going to show the best. I hope, anyways. All right, let's see. No, it does a bad job. Bad. Unless it's just residue on here that I can squeegee off. I probably took the worst spray bottle to illustrate this with. No, that looks too good. We'll find it later. Hey, it's working now. Nice. That's cool. Okay. So a torch, one thing that it can be helpful for other than heat shrinking is when you spray water, your soapy water on the glass, if it beads, basically like runs off the glass, looks hydrophobic. You ever seen those like windshield coatings? They keep the water from sheeting on the glass. So if you spray the window with your soap solution and it just beads off the window, and you just like take a torch and hit the surface of the glass, your water will evenly sheet. And so basically what that means is your soap will be able to do what your soap is supposed to do, which is sit on the window and let the film slide. So I closed Chrome and I reopened it, and now it's working. So that's good. Okay, so this one is for passenger side. This one up here is for the driver's side. If we want to shrink it, the only spot that we're going to be able to shrink it is going to be right here. I got to get towel anyways. And then bottle of me gel. I want my own gel, and I'll call it me gel. Or Miguel. There we go. We're gonna get one of them. So I'll either use a clay bar or a scrub pad on a back window. Well, that was a funny stutter. What would you charge for Amazon tint? If you were starting off. I don't know. I haven't really thought about that. I don't mind if somebody is more aware of what they're buying. It's when somebody buys something like that, and pretends with the customer like it's just like any other film. But the other thing is, like, for practice, it's fine, but your cost of materials on a decent film per car is still pretty low. It's just the total cost of a roll is obviously going to cost some money. But if you want to buy like something like T-View for $100 and somebody's cool with you installing it on your car, like you got to figure out how to get your start somewhere. I would definitely charge something for it. That way you can recoup a little time, materials, and stuff, and like if you're delivering a good final result, there's no reason you can't charge money for it. It's definitely worth something. But I think that's the part that bugs me the most. Is like, in the grand scheme of things, your film cost is fairly low. It's your time and how much time you put into learning and doing a good job. So it's kind of like everything combined. But everybody's needs are going to be a little bit different. I don't necessarily just want to like say a price, but charge something, make some money back on it. That way there's an actual transaction there. You'll have some money to put back into more material, and you'll slowly start to grow that way. Just be careful about building a customer base off of low, because they will come back later on for more stuff if you did a good job, and they will also refer people over in the same type of bracket. So if that's where you want to be, that's cool. If it's not where you want to be, try not to stay there for too long. Union, I haven't used them in person. Nice people, though. I don't hear anything bad about them. I usually get a 20 by 40 for about $50 to $60. Oh, 40-inch by 20 feet for about 50. That's still expensive. Like, that's a good film. It's just you're able to buy less of it. So, like, 50 bucks, 20-foot roll, 40 inches tall, 20 times 5, right? That'll give you a full roll. So what's 50 times 5? 250? Yeah, you can get a good roll for that. You're almost at like a... So I typically buy in 36. A 36-inch roll of GeoShield C2 carbon is going to be $270. That is that. We got one more to do. I don't know how I cut my finger, but I like sheared a layer off from a piece of film. I don't really know how I did that though. I've been here since 2020. See, that one makes more sense to use a scrub pad. Clay bar, scrub pad, good on back windows, safe on rear defrosters. We're not going to use a razor blade. Ooh, but here's my point. I did not see or feel that until I squeegeed it. See all that? That is adhesive. Scrub pads can help take that off, but you kind of need to know that it's there, and a little adhesive remover is going to help. Too often, I would come across maybe like a dealer tag, like the residue from it. It'd be like on a back window, and you just wouldn't really notice it. So, what were we talking about? Adhesive remover. I can grab this one because it's here. And is that all I needed? I swear there was something else I needed. I got my scrubber. How do you not get contamination on the corner you grab the roll with your finger? Oh, I need the piece of film. So like on a window like this, I grab just the very edges. That's often out of the visible area. And also if you just clean off your fingertips. I typically grab film in a way where I don't ever grab the adhesive on quarter windows and truck back windows like this. That's usually like there's enough margin there to just grab them so it's out of there, and I make sure my fingers are clean. See, so a lot of the videos where they take a small scrub pad and they go, my paranoid brain is always like, oh, but there could be a little adhesive somewhere. So that's why I like taking a razor blade instead. Suds make people think that it's clean, but there still might be a little piece of glue or something that you just like didn't feel. But on a pretty clean window, or like a newer window without anything stuck to it, scrub pad's plenty fine. Okay, let's go get it. So a little bit of that maybe. And also I'm just gonna air peel it. Just grab the very edge of that. Let it dingle dangle. Ooh, I gotta flip it. I gotta go this way. There we go. Oh no, we got a charge. Do you have any tips for a high school learning how to do this? There's nothing specific to high school. It's just a good skill set to learn. The earlier you can learn it, you can network inside the school and tint friends' cars. That's easier to do because you're likely to be one of the only people that does it. Okay, I gotta swap out the battery. That was my warning. So I'm gonna plug this in. Now we can pull out the battery. Put that back here. Nice. And then, which way does this go? This way. Clip. Here we go. We did it. We swapped out the battery. Clip. Ooh, we got a little smudgies. Should probably wipe that off. How's that? Yeah, better. All right, I got the back to clean up. And then we got a windshield to do. Going pretty smooth. That'll go on that side. This will come over here. Good. Good. Rear is done. Oh, we gotta put these back for him. This is probably pretty topped up at this point. Okay. Now the real fun. 12? Started at probably about 10:15. It's 12 now. So I'm looking to definitely be wrapped up with the windshield by 1. 1 at the latest. And we'll see how this goes. Is there any technique that can help with separating the clear liner from the film? There's 3 ways to do it. Your teeth, your fingernail, or like some Scotch tape. Where'd my scrubber go? Oh, I must have left it on the other side. Huh. Whoa. Have you guys ever done that? Been holding something and you just didn't realize you're holding it? All right, we're okay. So to prep a windshield, first thing I'm gonna do is scrub it. And then I use a squeegee. I used to use towels, but towels will leave little bits behind. And when you put a piece of film over those little bits, when you shrink, those little bits sometimes will rip right through the film if you're using like a hard card. The other thing is we're gonna put cut guard around this windshield. And in order to do that, I gotta have a perfectly dry windshield with no streaks on it. If there's streaks, this tape will start to let go. Why don't you use a light? Well, a light doesn't keep the windshield safe. So the tape is nice because it helps basically like light up the border. But I'm still taking a blade and cutting on the glass. I avoid cutting on the glass as much as possible now. You want to use stainless, you want to use light pressure. Those are all things where you should be okay. But I've had instances personally where it just hasn't been. And I started looking really, really close. Stainless is going to be a similar hardness to glass. That's one reason why it's recommended for cutting on glass. The harder surface always wins. So like you can't scratch a diamond with a razor blade, right? Diamond is so strong. But glass has a really hard surface. Stainless steel is a really hard surface, but they're similar. So you're way less likely to scratch a window with stainless, but you still can. So I apply this all the way around, and I cut on this tape, and then I get the cut that I want and avoid dragging a blade around a windshield. That in today's market is fucking crazy. I've heard some of those Ford trucks you really need to shrink. Oh, you rarely need to shrink the side windows. Yeah, there's a lot of guys that don't shrink side windows on the F-150. That's fine. The way that I look at shrinking is like, what are the trade-offs? I like to shrink everything, almost everything a little bit. And the trade-off is a little bit of time, and I just don't have fingers that pop up. If I'm unsure how a window is going to lay, you just learn from experience. If you don't shrink a window, you might have some fingers pop up, and then it's just going to possibly introduce dirt and take much longer to touch up on the inside of the window versus shrinking it before you install it. Oh, LL Customs, thanks so much for the 10. My Pro Classic is coming today. Been practicing with Gila and Black Magic film for this moment. Very cool. I want to watch you take off this mirror. Get ready, man. I'll show you exactly how to remove this mirror. Prepare for disappointment. My 3 screwdrivers are back. I broken 2 windshield, the forge stay on. So, is it? Just a flat. Okay. So this one is a screw. There you go. That's off. Sorry. This is one of the easy ones. They stopped doing the difficult clip years ago, but I still get them here and there. It's just a lot more rare. You typically see the ones now with the screw. Sorry. There's 2 clip style ones though. I have it. I don't know where it is. This isn't it. This is a regular mirror. I don't know why we have that one though. This is the simple one. And if you ever see a very rounded area here, it's like a similar style, but the other mirror that's difficult to remove is squared off at the bottom, and it has a very visible clip that you can see. On this one, you have this clip on the sides and nothing really here on the bottom that has the same teeth to it. So this one's super easy to remove. You take a small flathead screwdriver, you put it in and pry back just against the tab, and that's gonna bend this down, and then this wiggles straight up off of the tab. You could spray a little soapy water, that'll help loosen it up faster. It's so easy to take those off. And you're just putting a little pressure against the tab. Where people crack the window is typically they put a wedge between the tab and the glass itself. And that puts too much pressure there, and then it snaps, cracks. It's not good. So I had a video that I posted in the group recently, and it was not, this is how to do it. There's no problems there. I managed to get this one off, and this is what I used to get this one off. That was that video. It was a pair of like clip pliers, and I was able to push down on the spring clip, and I'll try that. And I'm never gonna do anything that puts pressure against the actual glass and the clip itself. I remember working with Rick from Sun Distributing. He had a 1/4 inch drive for a socket, and he's like, a 1/4 inch is perfect. You wedge that in between the tab and the glass, you take a little hammer and it comes right off. Never had a problem with it. One day I get a phone call. Guess what happened today? I finally broke a Ford windshield. So there's things that work. Not all those windshields with that clip are the same. Some have more pressure there. Some will come off easily, some will come off very difficult. Is it the vice grips? No, I used this though, and I was able to push down. I had seen JC modify a vice grip. I think that's the smartest thing that you can do. I just never bought the actual, the vice grip that you're talking about. When I saw it, it was like $400. I'm like, ah, fuck it, I'll splice it. Everything works perfectly until it doesn't. Hey! Yup. That's the way. I did not want to try that on the windshields either. I was like, that's fucking gonna break someday. And sure enough, fucking broke a windshield with it. And then GeoShield had a tool, a wedge-style tool, and same thing. A bunch of people bought it. Some of them were fine, and then we had a couple posts in the Facebook group like, oh shit, it broke this windshield. I think the best thing that you can do is put pressure on the actual clip, because then you're not putting pressure on the glass, and then it'll wiggle off the windshield. But some of those are super rusted and compressed that it's like near impossible. When I first started learning how to tint, some told me sunroofs have to be done in ceramic. Is that true? Sunroofs have to be done in ceramic? Why does everybody have weird information about sunroofs? I heard from a guy. I hear that so often. I heard from somebody that you can't do it. I heard from somebody, the ceramic. So we're installing a ceramic film right now. Automotive ceramic films absorb heat. So if anything, only doing a sunroof in ceramic would be more of a bad idea than just tinting it in a non-ceramic. But I don't care what anybody wants to tint a sunroof in. You can just, I think they're all fine to tint. We have a very large Facebook group, and there's so much hearsay about a sunroof shattering. If sunroofs breaking were a problem, we would see posts. We know a lot about the F-150s and those mirrors, and we still see regular posts of windshields breaking because of people removing them. So I always wondered then, if sunroofs are so bad to tint, why don't we see a sunroof? They know the Ford mirrors, and they're still breaking them. People are tinting sunroofs. It's a thing. Sunroofs are fine. Go ahead. Tint them in whatever you want. I heard you have to have your eyes open the whole time when you squeegee water out of a sunroof. No, that's the game. Keep your eyes open the whole time while you're getting soapy water dripping on you. Are you still using the same camera setup? No. Used to use the head mount. Eventually, I wanted to simplify it, and now we are on the simplest setup. Just that. It's itty bitty. And it looks pretty damn good for what it is. I stream directly to my computer with it. All right, now we're gonna shrink. Is Model 3 the hardest car to tint? It's up there. If you've done them, if you've done the back windows, you're gonna say, oh, it's not as bad as what I thought. But as far as regular cars go and like frequency, I think they're definitely one of the hardest, most common cars. I look at them the same way as Chargers. Chargers were like those back windows. We get questions on those all the time. Now I don't hardly see questions on Chargers anymore. But films are also easier to work with. And Model 3s, people will do a little bit differently. Sometimes they'll only tint the lower half rather than the full. Some shops don't even offer the full. They just say we'll only tint the lower part. Is that an Insta360? No, this is a DJI Action 6. This is their version of a GoPro. Oh, Chargers aren't so bad. I had so many Chargers, though. Now I'm sad. I don't see Chargers very often. Top edge contamination and quarter window creases. Top edge contamination is wipe off the top edge of the window. There's a lot of dirt that sits up there that can just run into your work. I would guess that's where that's coming from. Creases on quarter windows. Are you talking about like the gasket style quarter windows? Because those ones kind of suck. I love the channel. Thank you. Do you have to shrink the front windshield to apply it? Well, I'm not just trying to waste time for the sake of wasting time. I do waste some time, though. But I wouldn't go through all this unless we had to do it. Turn on the rear defrosters when tinting the Chargers? Yes. To peanuts and bananas and other fruit. This is an Apex 35. Learning, I've tried to bought some tint on Amazon. You make it look so easy. Well, the good news is it can be this easy. It's still not easy. It's still a lot of practice, repetition, banging your head against the wall, frustrating days. We've been doing the same thing every day for 2008. At this point, I'd hope it'd look easy. Do all sunroofs have to be shrunk? If they've got a curve to them. I would shrink all sunroofs. Shrinking is never going to hurt a window. It's going to take a little bit of time. But a fairly flat window is only going to take a few seconds to shrink. How would you shrink a normal rear glass with an H pattern? I'd shrink it the exact same way I'm shrinking this windshield. I wouldn't do them any different from each other. See, there's people that have been tinting that have some experience, and there's people that are brand new to it, and they're getting confused by each other. A new person does not have the same skill as an experienced person. So when you see a guy that says, just like in the chat, just an f250 that did not need to be, but it would have helped though, a new person is going to see that and say, oh, go do it, my guy. Go do it. You can absolutely tint cars without shrinking the doors. And there are absolutely cars that you are going to have to shrink the doors. When your skill is improved, when your slip and stuff is all dialed in, and really if you remove the bottom seals, but just keep all that in mind. So like a new person, you're gonna make so many other mistakes and like, oh, he said it didn't need to be shrunk, but why do I have all these fingers? It's because you're doing stuff wrong. So if you're brand new, I would highly encourage you shrink everything. You'll get better and quicker at shrinking, and then you can start experimenting with maybe that doesn't need to be shrunk. But there's so many. I saw a guy, I heard a guy, this, that. So many people. There's like, you could have a room full of 100 tinters, and everybody's gonna tint the same vehicle a little different. Everybody's gonna have a slightly different thing they're gonna do. Any frameless window has to be shrunk, but any pickup truck never has to be shrunk. We have a couple things on the glass. We have a dryer sheet. That's this white residue that's underneath. It's like waxy stuff. That's a snuggle dryer sheet that we smeared. And then this outline is cut guard. And so I cut directly on the tape. So when I look through, I don't have a scratch there because the tape was protecting the windshield. Audio comes first before video. So we probably have to do this. It's close. Go up another 100. That's better. Okay, so that's all shrunk, but we trimmed all the way around. And some of the film was obviously connected to where we shrunk. So now what we're gonna do, throw that back down there. Is I'm gonna touch up the top and the bottom. And just make sure any of these little squiggles are shrunk and nice and flat. Why do you like that tint? Because it's two and a half. 2 layers of ceramic in one. It blocks more heat. That's what I put on my cars. Two-ply. is more than 2-ply. Okay, so let's clean the inside. Will you talk about the reverse roll? Yes. Yep, that's what's up next. We're gonna clean the inside. And then we're going to reverse roll. I thought tint was only supposed to go on the inside of the window. Me too. So what the hell am I doing? Stupid me. Do you have the blade tool in your online store? We do. Everything that you've seen me use today, you can find here. And then 5% off tools with the code 313Tint. Why is that such a common thing? Because everybody's the same. Making TikTok videos helped me realize that. Tinters are so used to looking at cars, and one of the confusing things is a lot of vehicles come with factory tint. But people still don't really think about it. They largely think, if I can't see you, you can't see me. So when I close this up, and it's like really dark and I can't see somebody there, they can't see me. And then those people make the tint laws. Well, I saw a car go by and it was super dark. Illegal. That's what they think. Detroit Tint Studio. This is in Sterling Heights. Have you ever tinted a car with dual reflective film? No, I haven't. But you can definitely, I have to brush up on the adhesives. Like, I just have to look and see what they are. But some of them you can. Some of them are shrinkable and some of them you can. So here and there, somebody will ask about a reflective film. There's no chameleons that I recommend. Off the top of my head. But you could install a mirrored architectural film. This is a random spot that used to get me on an F-150. There used to be like some type of gritty residue there. Solar guard? Solar guard's good. I don't understand the company. Their film's fine. Just got carbon 35 and full windshield 50. Nice, very cool. I bet it looks good. 50 is most popular for me for a windshield. Today we're doing 35. I want a 30 really bad though. One more seat cover. Oh, I had to put it all the way over there. So I'm making sure that there's no sticker residue. And on windshields, it can be here, here, and anywhere else. Can't tell you how many times that I've kind of rushed through cleaning a windshield. So I just like take my hand sometimes and just like wipe it off, or lightly go over it with a razor blade. And then I'd tint it, and then like, oh shit, there was adhesive there that I just kind of skipped over. Or on a Ford windshield, there was something here. Dude, it drive me crazy. How often do you hang out with Eminem? We see him pretty regularly. He's just walking up and down 8 Mile. Okay, that all looks good. I'm gonna squeegee it off one more time. Gonna get that out of the way. Wipe the sides. Gel it. And then we'll be good to go. 12:49. I said I want to be done with the windshield no later than 1. I think. What took me so long? Everything. Everything took me so long. Oh, and this is Apex too. Ooh. Hang on. One more thing. One more thing. We talked about this at the beginning of the stream. You're talking. Damn it. That's true. Apex is one of those things that I haven't had this happen on every vehicle, but every once in a while I still see it. What happens, just switch to Geo and you'll never go back. I don't think that's directed at me, right? On Apex specifically, though, it's got the same adhesive system that C2 ceramic and C2 carbon have. But for whatever reason, sometimes if you're, I don't know exactly what it is, but like windshield specifically, I would occasionally see it curl back on either the lower edges or the upper edges. So after I'm done with this, I'm just going to make sure that it's not going to do that. But something that can definitely help is alcoholing the edges. Don't fall. Okay. And we're gonna OptiGlide the rest of this. Straight alcohol. That's what I've done because I've had it. I haven't experimented too much on like diluting it. But like a 70, that's a 99, and that's because that's for that stuff. But I would imagine a 70% would do the same thing. I just haven't experimented that heavily. I'm gonna trim this tab out right quick before we get going. We're gonna talk a little bit about reverse rolling. Inside is prepped. I wipe off the outside to start. I want to make sure that the edge is nice and free of all the shit that was there. And then I'm gonna peel it quarter of the way and lift this part and pull it over the rest of the windshield. I intentionally leave it short. Gels kind of help with this too. I intentionally leave it short of the lowest parts of that cutout. Like when I peel it, I leave it connected in here still. It's just because water will run down and start to collect. And I don't want that to just carry some dirt down around the tab if I can avoid it. Repeat on this side. We're just wiping off the edges. Peel. Right till about there. Lift. And we're gonna put this liner back down. So the liner has been loosened up except for that area right there. Then we're gonna coat the top of it. We're gonna lift it, which I cannot seem to do. There we go. We're gonna roll this up, starting with the lower corner area. By having the windshield sprayed is gonna let us tighten this roll up. So even if you don't have a very tight roll, you can just squeeze your fingers in and back up a little bit. And you can also twist it up and down. So you want to keep the bottom edge here flat, and it'll telescope some out of the top. So we're just going to roll this up completely. And you can even tighten it up a little bit more by putting your finger in and just twisting. There we go. Now I'm going to find that liner. Sometimes it's offset, sometimes it's right on the edge there, but I peel the tint away, hold the liner, and then I just have exposed window film. And I'm just gonna rinse all this because it's here, just to be sure. Make sure those corners are nice and clean as we're going in. So I left it unrolled a little less than a foot or so. And I want to get this up on the glass first. So you can start with the lower edge and then get the left side up on the windshield. And if you, the farther down and closer you get it into place, the easier everything is going to go. Because then you can clear the headliner, the film rests on the glass there, and then we can just start unrolling. And depending on how tight that lower dash area is, it'll make it easy or a pain in the butt. This one's choosing to be a little bit of the pain in the butt. So what I did was I took the liner and I flipped it to this side, and now I'm going to use it to help unroll the film. So we're just pulling it along. I got this wire I got to make sure is out of my way. And remember, this center part was still covered by the liner. So I want to just mist that part so it doesn't stick too heavily when it finally touches the windshield. The closer you can keep this, the better it's going to look and turn out. Like, you don't want to keep your film just like falling back from the windshield. You keep a tighter roll. Keep it going nice and smooth against the glass. When you get towards the end, that's where you can let it drop away. I'm going to take this and just rinse that edge too. Don't let it touch the sides. And we're going to tuck this in. So the film should still want to move freely on the glass. So it's all spread out. So we can shift and maneuver into place. Just make sure everything is overlapping. The worst is when you tack a windshield and it's still not quite in place. I'm going to grab one more tool. So again, I'm just going to get my head a little bit lower. And just make sure everything is covered. And now we have a lot of big air pockets. So I'm going to take this squeegee and use it to fan out the film. So this isn't getting all the water out, but it's doing a really good job of getting a lot of it out, smoothing the film. So we have a nice even layer of water. And then we're gonna take a harder squeegee and make our regular passes starting from the center. I'm gonna get as low as I can there. I gotta go grab one more squeegee. It's the best way for removing tint. Steamer. Steamer and look up some videos. So we have a few things that we can use for the very lower bits. We have a Slim Slam. We have a bulldozer. Tail fin is one of my favorites, but it just depends on how much space we get. When the dash is nearly touching, you need a real thin profiled squeegee blade to get all the way past into that. So this bulldozer generally does a really good job. For the corners, I'll take a tail fin. Slim Slam will do a fairly good job too, but if the dash is almost touching, it's not quite going to be able to squeegee far enough. So we still might use that because they seem to push out more water up to the edge or past than a bulldozer will. But this is a first pass. Then we'll clean off the outside and check it over. All right. That went pretty well. I hope. I didn't quite hit my 1 o'clock goal. It's 1:05. But we're gonna clean this up and hopefully I don't have to redo it. What steamer do you use? I have a Jiffy steamer. That looks good. So I'm just gonna look at it close with each pass that I make over it. It's looking really, really nice. I don't have any speckling on the sides that I can see. Top corners are super clean. That's a little drip on the outside. And then that. Very nice. Yep, I don't see anything in view. Let's clean off the other side. Very nice. Dang. What's that? Oh, that's a little chip. Or no. Sap on the outside. Whew. That scared me. It's like right there. You know, no big deal. Little spot right there when you're driving through. Fuck you. No, it's all good. Sap on the outside. When I do all this, just go to a car wash. Why you got so many tools to clean the windshield? Nice, very nice. All right, let's get things picked up. I don't know. I should have just taken it to a car wash. Libman, tail fin. This is a Red Devil. This is a painter trim tool. We should get those. I found it like randomly walking through a store again. Bulldozer, Slim Slam, reach around, that stays with me. Quarter Pro with a razor blade on it. Towel. I didn't put a rope in there. There's just not enough space to do both. The dash gets really close. Wish you were in Indiana so you could do my tint. We're actually taking a trip there for the weekend, but I won't be doing any tinting. Weird timing. Does the type of film make a difference? I'm learning about getting wrinkly areas. So you're just, for sure, gonna have issues learning how to tint. Tint is a frustrating skill set to learn. There definitely are differences in materials. Both like a dyed film versus carbon/ceramic, they can just inherently shrink differently, but everybody's version of it is also going to be different. There's a lot of similarities, but the more you get used to installing, you'll notice a lot of those subtle differences between them. But a cheaper carbon or a cheaper ceramic, I just never recommend for practicing on. other than doors. Doors are fine, but when you're trying to shrink a windshield or a back window, they generally are on the rubbery side and they like to shrivel and burn fairly quickly. I like that tea. Okay, so now we're just gonna make sure everything's all cleaned up. And this one will be good to go. Thanks for the lesson. Yeah, thanks for hanging out. They'd be pretty sad if it was just me. Clip parts. Name what? The tools? Oh, squeegees. Yeah, for sure. So, when I'm doing a door window, first thing I do is I take a sprayer, put a piece of film on the glass, and I'm gonna grab my knife. This is a red dot knife by NT Cutter with a stainless steel blade. I'm gonna trim out my pattern. My squeegee of choice right now is this. It's a Pros blade by Tri-Edge. This is their teal version. It's like a medium hardness. And this is in a Fusion handle, the Fusion Shorty 5. For a light cleaning squeegee, 313tint.com. This is actually their orange version of that. I just printed on it, but you can save 5% off tools with the code 313tint at 313tint.com. But this is in a reach around handle. It's just nice for light cleaning and bubble pushing. So this is my main cutting knife. And then I'll use a plastic knife with a very thin blade. This has the same type of blade by NT Cutter, like by the same company, but this is a thin carbon steel blade. This is just for cutting the top edge of the window. This is stainless. This is for all my other general cutting, rounded corners, straight edges, that kind of stuff. When I'm tucking the film, I'm using this. This is called the shank. It's a crooked butter knife. Comes from like a palette knife set. When I'm shrinking, I'm using a Tri-Edge Pros card. This has a double suede buffer on it, so two really nice suede buffers on a hard card. So it gives you a little bit of flexibility, but also some added stiffness from the card, and then the squishiness from those buffers are really, really nice. It's like using a felt card with a hard card. This is their newer Scrub It Mini. This is just for light cleaning. I often use a razor blade instead, but if you want a smaller scrub pad, I'll use this. I was using it on the outside of the windshield. And then for all the side edges, so I was just gonna use this for final touch-ups and just make sure. Along the bottom edge and the sides, I always use a card tool. And so Tri-Edge X, they come in a variety of colors, just like the squeegees do. I just want to make sure that this bottom edge is nice and locked down, and then there's nothing popped up on the sides. That's going to be the majority of tools that we just did for all the doors. There's some honorable mentions too, like panel guard for the door covers. I had a wide tape roll called Seal Guard that I used in the side seals. I used a gel called OptiGlide on all the edges. That helped keep them clean. This was a finger. These are the little things that I'm talking about too. Little pinch spot or finger on the side here. So we two-staged, which means we installed the top portion, then installed the bottom. So that can come with these little spots here. So I'm going to take a tri-edge card, put some pressure down right over it, and push hard, and now it's completely gone. So if I tried to do that while it was still wet, it would generally pop right back up. I can take a heat gun and dry it out quickly, or I can go and tint the rest of the car and see if it'll naturally dry out without any heat. But adding some heat there is always helpful. Most of the windshield got done with the reach round, handled squeegee, stainless knife with a stainless blade, scrub pad, and then the bigger tools, I use like a lip-in squeegee for squeegeeing off the outside of the windshield, just a nice wide squeegee. And then for some of the harder to reach areas, bulldozer is still my go-to. It's got a squeegee blade on the edge, very thin profile. This is literally like glued onto it. So it can just reach into some really tight areas that a handle is just, it's gonna be too thick. This is a Slim Slam. We didn't use this too much today, but it's the same general idea. Like you can reach down farther with something like this, and it's got a slim profile. But my other highlights for this windshield was this we call the Slim Sweep. It's just a film spreader. It helps spread the film out before you hit it with a harder squeegee. Tail fin. This is really nice for the tighter corners. So this can still hit the corners, but it comes in at an angle. And that angle wants to kind of hook either here or here. So this is just a point, and it's a really flexible, squishy point. So we can squeegee in these tighter corners without risk of it catching. So on your really tight windows, you can use something like this. Something else that I've been playing around with, I gotta find it. Oh, it's over here. These little air blowers are super handy. This we got with our t-shirt transfers. But a lot of shops will have compressed air. So like if you ever just get water somewhere, you can obviously use this to help dry things. But I've had fingers pop up that are just harder to reach. Like you do it on the outside with a heat gun, but sometimes like you'll have a lower spot, little finger pop up on the bottom. Taking some air and being really direct with it and being able to actually move the air and dry it out has been really, really helpful. But the one thing I really wanted to check on this was we had talked a couple times about windshields curling back with Apex. I prepped this with alcohol, and I'm just double checking to see if it wants to curl back. It hasn't been a big issue for me, but it's just something to keep an eye out for. But this side looks good. We're gonna go to the other side and try the same thing. What spray solution do you use? Ooh, good question. This. Tint slip. So I just use a little bit in a spray bottle. So like if it was this size spray bottle, I'm gonna take this, a little squeeze, probably put about that much of tint slip in just a regular spray bottle. Now if I'm filling up a spray tank, that's 3 gallons. I put about 1 ounce per gallon. I'm gonna fill that cap full 3 times. $35 or $50. Ooh, I need to clean the outside. 35 on the shield. Nice work. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, this one turned out really nice. I think he'll be pretty happy. Have you tried tint gel over the entire windshield? No. It's not that you couldn't. That I'd be really nervous. You just really got to make sure that you get all of it, or obviously as much as possible. Gel is thicker. It's still mostly made up of water. So it's water that takes much longer to dry. So you just want to make sure that you don't have a bunch of gel. Like, so doing a full windshield, squeezing out a lot of it, just make sure you catch what you could on that. On a vehicle like this, you'd probably be fine. Newer territory with that. Why dryer sheets over DSP? It depends on the film. DSP works really well with some films, and sometimes it sticks really aggressively with others. But that's particularly snuggle with the films that I use in this environment. There's some environments that are probably too humid and snuggle might be a little bit too aggressive. And then snuggle can always change their formula. But I just had instances with DSP where like some days were perfectly fine, and then some were like super aggressive, and it was hard to explain. And also teaching classes, you don't have to worry about putting too much dryer sheet on a windshield, but you don't want to put too much DSP on a windshield, or else it will be really aggressive and sticky. That looks good. Is the tool people use for the mirror removal low risk? On an f150, if it's not like a little vice grippy thing, no, I'd say it's high risk. Any wedge that you're putting in between that mirror and the glass, you risk popping the glass. You just do. You're putting pressure against the windshield. It's an older Ford style thing though. They're still common enough. But I just don't, personally, I don't get them that often. It's like what? When did they? Welcome back. It's what, 2018, 2019? When did they switch? Somewhere in there. Like all the newer Ford windshields have screws now, or they're the easy to pull off clip style. But the older break a windshield style, they're just not going to be as common. They're slowly going to just fade out. Tiny spot behind a brake light, won't sit down. My bulldozer is no good. I'm sick of doing a window over and over again. So on a back window, there's a lot of humidity and moisture. And I'll use the windshield as a good example. Your water settles. This used to drive me crazy. Like, you could take a little finger and you could shrink it or get it to go away super quick on the outside of the windshield. But you could have a little finger pop up at the bottom, and then it just like, why does it keep coming back? Why does it keep coming back? You got to get that spot fairly hot, but you also want to take all the moisture and get rid of it. So if you heat it up and actually let it dry out and all the moisture kind of starts to go away, it'll lay down much faster and easier. But you can have just a little finger there. The dots hold a little bit of water. All the humidity and moisture that's there will just constantly keep that popping up. So I would spend way more time trying to touch up one little finger, like one stubborn little finger that would pop up. Best thing to do in those situations is just let them dry out. So what's the purpose of using Snuggle on the windshield? We want to smell fresh. And that's when I ended the stream. So with shrinking, it's weird. And it's hard to explain without seeing it again. So if you rewind back, whenever I tack the film down to the glass, like whenever I use a card, the film wants to stick to the glass. But then if I don't use a card, it's floating. So it allows the film to kind of float so you can shrink it nice and evenly. But then you want it to grab the windshield so you can kind of smooth the film out and see what needs to be shrunk next. So it just helps you better organize the film while you're shrinking it. It's like a light waxy surface, a light tack paper. But it's really helpful to have something there that the film can kind of grab on while you're shrinking. Because as you're shrinking it, it's literally shrinking together. There's tension and it's pulling inwards on the film. So if there's nothing there to hold it flat and smooth on the glass, the film's just going to want to like spring back and curl off the windshield. So it just helps with shrinking. Alrighty, that's it for today. Thank you for hanging out. I appreciate you. I hope you guys had a good week. I hope you have a good weekend. I've got a booked schedule all next week. So we're going to be live for the majority of them. I don't see why not. Where's my phone? One sec. Oh. Got it. Okay. So what do we got next week? Monday, I've got a 26 Explorer. We're going to do the whole thing with the windshield. Tuesday, I have a Model Y. We're going to do the full thing with the windshield. Wednesday, I have a Model Y windshield. And then after that, I've got front doors on a Jeep. Might not stream that day. Thursday, I have a full Ram with the windshield. Friday, I've got removal on front doors and retint on a Town and Country. Ooh. Oh, he's coming in at 12. He should come in at 10 and then we'll leave early. Oh, the phone's ringing. Should be able to answer from your headset. Is upstairs all film? No, not yet. It's all tools. That's all our extra tool inventory. So we have all our downstairs inventory. What? No, not yet. What happened?
So, yeah.
Should I end streaming? So that's all our downstairs inventory. Holy shit.
Gotcha.
What?
Oh, it's all nice and like stocked up there. Wow.
Just front 2 windows, right?
That's cool. And then all overflow is up there. So basically everything's down here to fulfill orders very, very quickly. Alrighty, thank you for hanging out. I appreciate ya. I will see you